Valerie, is she ready? Okay, thank you. Again, our apologies for starting late this evening. We are back from our executive session. We are starting with item 4 on our agenda, which is a motion by the Mount Healthy Board of Education to uphold the expulsion that we held a hearing on. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Do I have a second? Okay, very quietly, Ms. Bryant. Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Abstain.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the discussion of the agenda. First, we're going to have to amend the numbering. We're just picking up from our last item, so Ms. Corner, we're going to have to, so that was item 4, so we're going to pick up discussion of the agenda will be 5, and we'll amend the numbering, if that's okay, if you can handle that. Thank you. I knew you could. So board members have had the opportunity to see the agenda for this evening. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Item 5, reading and signing of the minutes from the regular meeting held on September 20th, 2021. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes. Item 6A, Mount Healthy Teachers Association. Do we have any report from?
There's no report.
Okay. 6B is communications, announcements, public input.
I'm not aware that anyone signed it.
Okay. Item 7, Great Oaks Board Report. Mrs. Ellis.
Okay, actually all we really was into is the strategy of the treasurer and the CEO, and the treasurer was to provide leadership through financial stewardship. Number 2 was improve operational efficiency and utilization of resources. And 3 is provide effective communication to the stakeholders of the Great Oaks Career Campuses. The president's strategies was to enhance and strengthen plans to ensure the students are ready for their future. 2 is to foster a culture that promotes connectiveness among individuals and the organization. And 3 was to ensure health, wellness, and safety of students and staff. The next day, on Thursday, they had the Southwest Regional Fall Conference at the Great Oaks, and they did a welcoming and introduction of special presentations, and they also gave us the Ohio School Board Association update, and we had a legislative update, and they gave out the nominations for, I guess it's for the next coming years, officers, and they gave out certificate for the Ohio Teacher of the Year candidates from the Southwest Ohio region, and I guess when they had the conference in November, they'll tell us what teacher won. And, they also gave out an award to a Mike Finnegan, teacher and coach, from 1985 to 2021 at the Southwest Regional Friend of Education. He's the one that did
That drove,
bicycle.
yeah.
Yeah, he bicycled all over Ohio. And, I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. But, yeah, that was the end of that. That's something me and, Valerie attended on, Thursday at Great Oaks. That's it in my report.
Thank you. Item 6, where am I? Item 8, sorry, is the legislative report. It's very short this week, or this month. The only thing to report on is House Bill 290, also known as the backpack bill. It was introduced primarily by Republican, I think entirely by Republican lawmakers in the General Assembly. House Bill 290 has been introduced in the House and is before the House Committee. This bill, if it becomes a law, would allow funding to follow students to the private school of their choice. The stated goal is to fund students, not systems. It would provide vouchers to all Ohio students, not just those in schools with low grades on the state report card. So it would basically be saying that any student in the state can get the state funds and they can go to any private school, parochial school, whatever, of their choice. Those funds would follow them to the school that they choose and would not come to the public schools. So we're keeping an eye on that. It's early in the process, but it's definitely not something that is really good news for public schools, for sure. And that's the end of my report. Item 9, report of the treasurer, Ms. Brooks. 11, yeah, I didn't renumber mine, did I? Thank you.
You received your schedule of bills for September 2021. I'd like to recommend their acceptance.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion? Could we please have a vote?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item B is you received the financial statement for September 2021. I'd like to recommend its acceptance.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Item C is a recommendation to approve invoices under a now and then fiscal year certificate, and they are listed there below, mostly to all integrated protection services. I'd like to recommend you approve these.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion?
What is under approval?
What is integrated protection services?
Is my plan here?
Yeah.
Do you
Yes.
know what integrated protection services are? That's to do with some of them. ICS, the Social Security. Oh, and there's Mr. Crowley. We're approving integrated protection services invoices. If you could explain what those are, or what they,
No.
a general idea of what they do.
Absolutely. They monitor our fire and alarm system. They're a company that, if we, in fact, this morning, we were testing down at the new building, the ELC. If the alarm goes off, they're the ones that call us and let us know that there's something wrong. They take care of the data.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any, where am I? I've lost my place now. Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
And I would like to report that we are in the midst of we're working on our gap audit at this point. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Item 11, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Hawkins.
Thank you. I think it's item 12. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Did I still get my numbering wrong?
So, first I would like to give an update on the Early Learning Center before we go into the informational items. We did pass our electric inspection, so that was great news. And so this week, we will start moving things in. Mr. Crowley actually spent the whole day at the Early Learning Center looking at every room to develop a punch list of things that needed to be taken care of. Would you like to say anything about that?
So tomorrow we have one more portion of the building that's left. That's the main office. We meet over there at 2:30 to finish up the punch list with that. Things are looking very well. Electric-wise, we've already passed a lot of the, of course, the outside. We're going to hold off on the punch list on that until after we get into the building. And then as we're in the building, they'll continue finishing up things on the outside. So Wednesday, there's two things that were left, which were more from the fire hydrant. So for the fire department, we're going to come out, inspect. There's two different things they have to inspect. We should receive the keys. We will receive the keys on Wednesday.
And then we'll start moving everything in. It is our plan that students will report on the 25th, next Monday, to start at the Early Learning Center. So we're very excited about that. It's a day that we've been looking forward to for a long time. So
And when is our grand opening?
we haven't set that date. We wanted
Okay.
to make sure everything gets put in and let routines start being established. It will be before Christmas, but you know,
Okay.
just give them a little bit of time to get set up, and then we will set that.
All right.
Set that date.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under informational items, as I mentioned, we were finishing up the Early Learning Center, and we have several change orders that went through for minor things. A hot box sensor, the wood stage riser. They had some weather days, plywood at the stage, mop sinks, drinking fountains. So we're still within our 5% window. The charges are listed there. I just wanted the board to be aware of the things that were kind of those final items that needed to be taken care of. We did receive some more grants this month, and we are very excited about the work that Dr. Harris, Mary, and Kristen are doing on the grants for the district. We received the American Rescue Fund Homeless Round 2, which was $89,057.79. The second item is something that Kristen found, and this is the Federal Communication Commission's Emergency Connectivity Fund. They're awarding us $259,222.45. The board very graciously approved last year for a lot of computers to be bought. This allows us to reimburse that cost. So that is a reimbursement for things we had to buy because of the pandemic. So I was excited. Kristen does a great job looking around, finding anything that could save us money as a district. She focuses on secondary items primarily, and Mary Beth focuses on elementary items. So they're doing great work with that. The third is a funded donation through a partnership with Good Sports, Let's Play, and Keurig Dr. Pepsi. They're giving us $11,500 for sports equipment, and that is more geared towards the elementaries. So Mary Beth found that grant, and we're trying to develop all of those systems so that all of our students, regardless of what grade they're in, will have opportunities. Item B is the recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing in lieu of transportation payments for the 21-22 school year, and there was a separate attachment. We are encouraging families, if they're providing transportation, to take this one-time payment, and then we don't have to provide busing for them.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? Could we take a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Item C is the recommendation to approve Structure and Design LLC for the demolition of the first floor ceiling system. This is in relation to the HVAC. They are actually taking out that old grid ceiling like we have here, and we're going to finish the original ceiling. So you'll be able to see the ductwork. It'll be more of an industrial look, but the ceilings will be much higher because the original ceilings were much higher. If we had kept the grid, they would have had to lower it 6 to 12 inches, and that would have been a very low ceiling. So that's why we made the decision to go with using the high ceilings and painting versus replacing the.
So removing the tiles, that's all asbestos, correct?
Not on the, it's just on the first floor.
Okay.
But there, Gary?
Yes, we also had two inspections on the third floor, and all the asbestos has been removed, so
There's no asbestos, okay.
on the
But
first
this
or
is,
third floor.
this is the first.
So we're referring to the first floor.
Yeah,
Okay.
no asbestos, so
Yeah,
that
so-
was great, great
So everybody
news.
can come back to work.
That's right, that's right.
So,
And this will be paid with ESSER funds.
Okay.
could we just reword that slightly and because, being a historian, I'm always thinking about people looking at things later. Could we add first floor of the central office building so that it's
Sure.
clear what we're talking about?
Great, thank you.
Because 50 years from now, nobody's going to know what that meant.
Right, okay.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any further discussion? Could we take a vote, please? I'm looking at the wrong person. Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item D is the recommendation to approve Graham Reed Lock and Key LLC for the installation of new locks and keys at the junior-senior high. The total cost is $62,487.50. We started looking at how many master keys were cut over the years. There are so many master keys out, and we have no idea where they are. So we've had some turnover with personnel, and so we felt for the security of the district, we needed to rekey the building, and then Gary and his team will have a record of who has a master key when they leave the district for retirement or whatever reason. That will be part of turning it in to get their final paycheck from payroll.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve Graham Reed Lock and Key?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion?
Are some of these locks electronic that you do from at the office, open a door?
There are a few, but the majority are lock and key. Like when you first go into the building, you can swipe your badge.
Okay.
And when you go into the office area, there's also a scanner. Once you get outside of the office area, it's all
Lock and key, okay.
lock and key.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Item E is the recommendation to enter into a contract with Scarlett and Gray Cleaning Services for custodial services at the Early Learning Center, and the total cost will be $99,000.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion?
Is that a year?
It'd be yearly. Yes.
That'll be the annual contract, even though they're starting late this year. Will that be the amount
is
probably
prorated.
next year? Okay,
Yes.
so next year it will be a bit higher.
Yes.
Okay.
Was this put out on bid?
Gary.
No, we did not have to because we're already working with the company. They're already at all of our other buildings, so it's just added on to their contract.
Okay. Any further discussion? Could we take a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Item F is the recommendation to change the administrative guidelines for Board Policy 5420, reporting student progress, to the following. To maintain consistency in reporting, alpha grades, A through F, will be entered into the reporting system, not numerical grades. This process aligns with the way grades are reflected on progress reports, grade cards, and transcripts. When accessing grades in progress book, this change will allow both students and parents to view exact grades rather than numerical representations of the grades. Teachers will continue to have the freedom to use points, for example, 25 out of 45, or percentages on individual assignments if they choose. But the conversion to an alpha grade, A through F, must occur before entering the score into the online reporting system, currently Progress Book. The conversion of the academic grades will remain the same as previously stated in Administrative Guidelines 5421, A grading. 90 to 100 is an A, or 4.0. 80 to 90 is a B, 3.0. 70 to 79 is a C, 2.0. 60 to 69 is a D, 1.0. And 0 to 59 is an F. This change will be reflected in Administrative Guideline 5420A, Student Progress Report Procedures. For the use of district-approved online grading book, grades should be entered as alpha grades, A through F. The grade conversion chart is listed. 90 to 100 is an A, 4.0, and the range for the A would be 3.6 to 4.0. 80 to 90 is a B. A B averages is a 3.0. The range for the B is 2.6 to 3.59. 70 to 79 is a C. A C weight is 2.0. The range for a C is 1.6 to 2.59. 60 to 69 is a D, or 1.0 for the weight, and 0.60 to 1.59 is a D. 0 to 59 is an F. An F has 0 as the weight, and it would be 0 to 0.59. We already use alpha grades on our progress reports, our report cards, and our transcripts. Some of our teachers grade, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4. When a parent goes into progress book and they see a 2, that's confusing. They don't know what a 2 represents. So by putting our grading system, making it match everything else we do, it'll be very easy for our parents to look at a grade and say, okay, here are all their assignments. They have so many A's, so many B's, so many C's, so many D's. And so that's what we're changing the administrative guidelines to be consistent through all of our processes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to change the administrative guidelines?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kilgore, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion?
So this will be shown only in progress book or
Yes.
report cards?
And this change would go into effect immediately. I'm sorry.
The B should read 80 to 89.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. The B should be 80 to 89. That would just be in progress book because all of our other systems already use alpha.
Okay.
So like if you have progress book, when it goes to an interim report or the final report card, the number grade is not on there. It just says A, B, C, or D, or F. Our transcripts also have alpha. So this would just make progress book consistent with all of our other systems.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Dr. Turner?
Yes.
Thank you. Item G is the first reading for recommended Mount Healthy Board of Education bylaw and policy changes. We are working with Neola to make sure all of our policies are updated. That hasn't happened for a while, so you received a packet that just has the first reading. Pretty standard. Gary, was there anything that jumped out that was unusual in this packet?
Not at all.
Okay. So we're just updating the policies as, you know, they should be reviewed at least yearly. So this is just the first reading that gives you time to look at all of these different policies, and we will do the official vote next month. Item H is the recommendation to adopt the consent agenda, and all of the items related to the consent agenda are listed below.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Glenn. Any discussion? Could we have a vote, please?
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mrs. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
And Dr. Turner?
Yes.
And that's all for me.
Thank you. Item 13, special orders. We don't have any. Item 14, open discussion by the Board of Education. Does anyone have anything they would care to discuss this evening? It would appear not. Item 15, Board of Education report. All we have to report is the date of the next Board of Education meeting, which is November 15th at 6 p.m. And that leaves us with adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Mr. Glenn, seconded by Mrs. Ellis. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.